Pizza Tower was not something that I particularly enjoyed, at least not at first. Originally, this video was going to be an in-depth explanation on why I couldn't enjoy Pizza Tower, why I thought that it couldn't live up to the height of its art style and social media chatter. But as I came to terms with its robust moveset and perfected each and every sharp turn of its dozens of levels, I realized that I was having some of the most fun I've had in a platformer in some time, and that this video was shaping up to be something very, very different. It's a game that has absolutely swept across not only the indie scene, but your Twitter timeline as well. Its eye-catching art style that refuses to confine any of its characters to one shape feels like it's a series of short videos between commercials on Toonami or something. Presentation-wise, I don't think anyone can argue just how much this game has stuck the landing. The question thereafter becomes, does its gameplay live up to such a high mark that is set by its own visuals? At first, there were two big things working against me as far as liking this game, two big dispositions that I was going in with that I thought had doomed me from the start. One of which is the game's emphasis on chasing a perfect score for each level. While not required by any means, it becomes very obvious early on that this is the name of the game in Pizza Tower. These levels are meant to be replayed and mastered, each corner and individual platform memorized so that you can eventually do this exhilarating combination of just the right dashes, jumps, and whatever this is. I don't really care for games constantly micromanaging me and saying how they think I performed. I'd rather just play it and enjoy it for what it is. If I wanted opinions I didn't care about, I could just scroll through the Omori hashtag on Twitter rather than having something that's built into a game I'm trying to enjoy. Of course, I'd later come to find the grading system to be a fun milestone to chase once I started actually enjoying the game, but this was not the case in the beginning because at first, and this brings me to my second big point, nothing feels elegant about Peppino's moveset at all. He will constantly insist on diving, climbing walls, and skidding when he has no right to. To P-rank these levels, you have to move perpetually fast with little to no time to react to the constant, cramped obstacles. And it's not helped by the fact that you surrender so much control when you're at top speed in this game. Seriously, turning around in this game takes longer than it does for Donkey Kong in Tropical Freeze. Turning around as a 20-ton gorilla takes less time than it does for one Italian man in Pizza Tower. For as bad as that might sound, coming to grips with Peppino's unorthodox moveset is the biggest joy of this game. Even if a moveset in a platformer has jarring weaknesses, it becomes much less of an issue when the entire game is crafted so perfectly around it, and that's definitely the case here. Level layouts usually have nice, forgiving amounts of space for Peppino to turn, climb, and gain momentum at the most opportune times. I love simple movesets that place most of the creativity on the environment itself rather than the character, but Pizza Tower takes a slightly different approach here. Rather, the levels themselves are carefully tailored ways for you to see the breadth of what Peppino is capable of. Some areas you have to navigate have more distance between jumps than anything you've seen in most platformers. Maxing out your run speed to propel yourself upward with a super jump just doesn't get old. Combining acrobatics like this is usually only reserved for 3D platformers, but it's totally within the range of possibilities here. Yet for as fun as his moveset is, it's not even the best part of the game. Peppino is not the sole focus of Pizza Tower, and I'm not even talking about the fact that he's not the only character. I'm talking about the power-ups. They are bonkers. Power-ups are by no means a requirement for a good platformer, but after sinking hundreds of hours between Super Meat Boy and The End Is Nigh, two video games that pride themselves on their simplicity, it felt so nice to not only return to a title that had a sophisticated moveset, but one with power-ups as well. They aren't amazing across the board, but for the most part, finding these things in the environment gave me an elating feeling, similar to finding the vehicle transformations in Yoshi's Island, like this one that almost instantly brings you to top speed, the chicken that gives you a double jump, and my personal favorite, an ironclad set of armor that transforms Peppino into an almost uncontrollable show of force. All slopes become deathly slip and slides that barrel you through enemies and walls with a feeling so visceral, you'll be amazed the entire game doesn't take place wearing this thing. That power-up in particular really gives you an appreciation for the amount of care that went into the layout of these stages, as the developer had to account for not just how Peppino would navigate them with his normal moveset, but what the return routes would be when you were only able to use slopes to progress. It's really hard not to go on and on about these because some of them are so well crafted. Another highlight for me was a stage called Deep Dish 9, which had these floating olive things that propelled you upwards and let you charge through baddies, and these rockets that could destroy entire asteroids instantly. Return routes are a recurring theme in this game, as a matter of fact. To get the perfect rank in each stage, you actually need to not only do a return route from the endpoint, but a whole second lap while visiting every secret area and grabbing every item on top of maintaining your combo streak by destroying enemies to intermittently deal damage. It's a careful juggle of just the right dashes, slides, and super jumps to avoid that always close brush with failure you are trying to stay one step ahead of at every moment. It's not completely without mercy though. Even if there are moments where you stagnate and take an awkward turn or miss a single jump, you should be fine as long as you don't go too long without dealing damage to another enemy. Now, if you're a video game enjoyer out there who does not care for chasing after the perfect score, would you be able to enjoy P-ranking Pizza Tower's stages? Well, after coming out the other end and understanding what Pizza Tower was trying to do in the first place, I'd say that asking whether or not you are a score chaser at heart is not even a necessary question here. Pizza Tower is so enjoyable, so fluid in its movement, and powerful in its raw feel that regardless of whether or not you are a perfectionist at heart, this game will lure that out of you, just so you have a reason to continue visiting its fantastic worlds and perfect its checkered corridors over and over again. It is seriously that fun. This fun with pursuing perfection extends to the boss fights as well. Pizza Tower's boss fights are among the most enjoyable I've fought in any platformer. Whereas most games are fine with doing the Mario thing, where you follow a very predictable pattern and hit an obvious weak point 3 times, PT's gives the enemies a high level of aggression and movement that never lets you settle into any comfortable rhythm. When a boss flashes and it's time to dish damage, it's elating to dive in and land your attack. The game also has a really good sense of humor. For those confused as to what that is, humor was a concept that tapered off around 2017, in which people used subtext that was abnormal to make situations that were high energy and fun. Pizza Tower has this in spades through almost nothing but funny faces and sound effects, which in turn made it easy to screenshot, crop, and make memes of to further boost its popularity. Social media osmosis has made it so that it's very easy to get burnt out on anything that's really popular at a given moment, but even if you're tired of Peppino interrupting your Twitter timeline and you just want to break from it all, I urge you to go to the source. Go to the video game itself and find out why Pizza Tower has captured the attention of so many platforming fans out there. You likely won't be disappointed. Yeah, its controls take some getting used to, but after you've got a handle on it, you'll be so thankful you put in the time. It was also hard to play this game without thinking about another amazing platformer out there called Dust Force, which similarly prides itself on chasing after perfect scores in long levels while extending a combo meter, albeit with a slower and more methodical feel. Its soundtrack, art design, and overall feel are so good, and the game really flew under the radar, so I just thought I'd give it a quick shout out. I have a video I did on it even, and you can find it right here.